Si Jack. Kasi yung aawit, sabi mo?
Nasabihan ko po na.
Anong awitin niya?
Sinabi ko po kay Ma'am Grace na kung sana.
Tapos di ka tiya.
Oo sir, yun po ang ano sabi.
Hindi siya naman.
Kaya dito na lang po tayo.
Yan, pamilya yan dyan.
Kasi pagiging show business ang dating.
Oo, ito lang po.
Show business ang dating. Kaya tayo.
Subject.
Ay, isa-isa.
Maligayang pagdating sa
Sige.
Subject.
Kapwa ko mga guro, sa Direktor ng Sentro ng Sining at Aralin Manileño, Guro Ernesto Benaventura, sa kalihim ng Kolehiyo ng Malayang Sining, Guro Gina Piñano, mga puno ng kagawaran, sa ating pinakamamahal na dekana ng Guro Evelyn L. Sebastian, bagamat wala po sila, pinababatid po na sila ay nandito pa rin sa loob ng Gusto Albert. Isang mapagpala at mabiyayang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Isang malaking pagkakataon at mapalad ang ating bayan sa kadakilaan ng isang bayaning nabuwis ng buhay para sa ating kalayaan. Sa taong ito ay pinagdiriwang ang ika-150 taong kapanganakan ng ating pambansang bayani na si Dr. Jose Rizal. Ito po ang dahilan ng ating pagtitipon sa hapon ito. Mula pa kaninang umaga sa pagbubukas ng exhibit ng monumento ni Dr. Jose Rizal hanggang sa pagbibigay-pugay ng mabubuting gawa at isinulat niya sa ating kasaysayan. Ito ay taunang ginagawa ng kagawaran ng Pilipino, ang serye ng panayam. Dito natin nakukuha at napupulot ang maraming impormasyon na maaaring humubog ng ating kaisipan at pagkatao. Sa pagbubukas po ng programang ito, sisimulan natin sa panalangin at susundan ng pambansang awit na pinatubayan ni Ginoong Arjan Gine, guro sa Pilipino. Tayo pong lahat ay nanayahang tumayo.
Pasulong mo
Sige po. Higit na pasisiglahin ang hapong ito sa bungad pati na pangungunahan ng nag-iisang direktor ng Sining ng Aralin Manilen, Daluguro Ernesto M. Buenaventura.
Ang guro ay isang nagtuturo. Siya ang nagtuturo ng kanyang profesyon at sino mang nagtuturo ng area o bagay na maaaring matutunan. Sila ang tunay na guro. Dalawa po ang uri ng pagkaguro. Ang una ay naging guro dahil sa tinapos sa kurso ng pagkaguro. At ang ikalawa ay naging guro dahil natapos ng kurso ng pagkaguro, dahil hindi natapos ng kurso ng pagkaguro sa mga ideya, kundi sa mga ideya, mga bagay na kailangan ay mabahagi na natutunan at natututunan ng mga mag-aaral. Ngunit, hindi po lahat na natapos ng pagkaguro ay tunay na guro. Umaayon po siguro sa akin. Wala po akong marinig.
Yes, sir.
Ang tunay na guro ay alam ang apat na susi ng pagkaguro. Alam ang kanyang itinuturo, mahal ang kanyang itinuturo, kilala at minamahal ang kanyang mga tinuturuan. Si Rizal, bagaman hindi nagtapos ng pagkaguro ay matatawag na tunay na guro dahil sa mga ideya, kaalaman, karunungan at iba pa na sa kanya'y natutunan o patuloy na natututunan. Alam at mahal ang kanyang tinuturo at kilala at minamahal ang kanyang mga tinuturuan. Ang kanyang mga katuruan ay may tuturing na isang matandang parol sa tula ni Jose Corazon de Jesus na siyang maliwanag na tatangalaw sa tuwing na landas ng magiging haligi ng bayan na dahil sa kanyang di nagmamaliw na mga katuruan. Sa mga mag-aaral ng PLM, ang mga panauhing mag-aaral mula sa labas ng PLM, mga panauhing daluguro sa loob at labas ng PLM, sa mga namiminuno sa Pamantasang ng Lungsod ng Maynila, sa aming puno ng kagawaran ng Pilipino, Deograsya D. Santos, sa mga mahal naming dikana na narito ngayon, ang dikana ng MASCO, College of Mass Communication, si Ma'am Ludmila Lawanoy, ating pong dikana ng College of Nursing, si Ma'am Amarillo, at sa ilang pa na dito na hindi ko mabanggit, hindi nabanggit. At syempre, sa aming mahal na dikana ng CLA, si Ma'am Evelyn Sebastian, sa aming mahal na pagkakamulang. Hindi ko na mapapangitin ang pangalan niya, mamaya na lang po para ma-excite po tayo lahat. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Salamat, Sir Ernie, sa iyong mapanghimo at masiglang pananalita. Ngayon po naman, tatawagin ko ang ating masugid na tagapagsaliksik ng tagapagsalita ngayong hapon ito. Hindi ko na po patatagalin ang ating tagapagpakilala sa ating tagapagsalita, si Daluguro Bernardo F. Ramos, ang guro sa Pilipinas.
Well, thank you. In any extemporary speech, it is not improper to ask for an apology, but for today I would like to make an exception, for I will be introducing our distinguished guest speaker using the English language rather than the usual Filipino language. And may I remind everyone that I will not be the guest speaker, I will just be introducing the speaker. A member of the Honor Society of P. Kappa P. Professor Jose David Lapus has been teaching at the Pontifical University of Santo Tomas in Manila for more than 3 decades. He graduated cum laude from the University of the Philippines with a Bachelor of Arts degree, major in political science and minor in history in, shall I say the user, 1963. Afterwards, he pursued a postgraduate course as a British Council Scholar in International Politics and Foreign Policy at the University of Glasgow in Scotland, United Kingdom. He also took a specialized course in Peace Research and Conflict Resolution, Approach to International Politics and Relations at the same University of Glasgow, Scotland, United Kingdom. A 10 Outstanding Young Men Award recipient for Political Science, Professor Lapus has lectured in such universities as Harvard, Yale University, Eastern Washington University, East Carolina University, University of California in Los Angeles, University of London, Strathclyde University, London School of Economics, Oxford University, State University of Leningrad, now Petersburg, in the former Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, University of Moscow in the Russian Federation, and the Humboldt University of Berlin in Germany, one of the country's most distinguished and most renowned authorities on the life and great works of Dr. Jose Rizal, so eminent in the field that he has earned the sobriquet Rizalista de Vanguardia. He is also one of the country's most outstanding and illustrious experts on international politics, comparative foreign policy, and Philippine government and institutions. In fact, the Manila Bulletin, the country's leading newspaper, calls Professor Lapus a notable foreign policy expert. Professor Lapus has been attending and reading papers before the annual conferences of learned societies and professorial organizations in the United States, Great Britain, France, Italy, and elsewhere. Recently, he was a guest in Nairobi, Kenya, in East Africa. Professor Lapus' commitment to international affairs studies is well known far and wide. He is the recipient of a special citation and medallion of the Pan-Pacific Association International in Hawaii, USA, for his remarkable accomplishments in his chosen field of international relations, comparative foreign policy, and diplomacy, which have brought international honors to the Philippines and which have been characterized by scholarship of very high order. In November 2004, he was a fellow of the San Francisco International Council on Diplomacy and the U.S. State Department to observe the November 2004 U.S. presidential elections. A two-time recipient, 2001 and 2002, of the Dangal ng UST Award for dedicated service, deep devotion, and steadfast fidelity to the commitment of UST to education. Professor Lapus has been teaching international relations and comparative politics, political theory, global issues, Philippine government and constitution, and Rizal course and UST. Aside from teaching, he is also a commissioner of the UNESCO and the only Filipino member of the Paris-based International Advisory Committee on Human Rights and Poverty of UNESCO. Now, he is very busy as Vice President of the Philippine Council on Foreign Relations, Incorporated. He is also advocate of the Philippine International Visitors Program, Incorporated, Professor Lapus is scheduled to deliver lectures at Franciscan University in Steubenville, USA in October 2011 and will lecture at LA, San Francisco, Seattle, and Honolulu, Hawaii. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, our dear students, it is a great honor and privilege to be introducing to you for this day our guest speaker, none other than Jose David Lapus.
Well, I am very flattered. Don't worry, I'll speak both in English and Filipino, except the major portion is in English to do justice to the accomplishments of Dr. Jose Rizal, as well as to do justice to myself. Of course, I lecture abroad in English, but I also lecture abroad in Filipino sa mga asosasyong Pilipino sa LA, sa Texas, sa San Francisco. Marami tayong mga kapatid na Filipino na ubod ng sipag at pwede ipagmalaki ang sambayanang Pilipino sa Estados Unidos. As a minority, ang mga Filipino sa USA presents no problems to the United States of America. Ang speech ko hindi mahaba, hindi maikli. Pero tanda yung professor ako delivering a lecture, kaya hindi ko ugaling maglagay ng slides at saka kung ano-anong giveaway. Sapagkat ang attention mapupunta roon rather than to the address that I am delivering. So I deliver lectures in the classical, traditional way. Hindi yung may slide dito, may pointer doon, at saka gimmickry. Style doon ngayon, pero kaya-kaya style. Diba? Ang speech ko, parang merong magandang babaeng nakita kahapon, naka-skirt, ladies skirt. Napaka-lovely niya. Napansin ko sa kanya, ang skirt niya was short enough to provoke interest, to provoke interesting items in the brain, but long enough to cover the essentials. Sa aking palagay, ang mga speeches dapat sundin ang style ng mga skirt of beautiful dalagas today, short enough to arouse interest, to provoke interest, especially when you sit in a corner sipping a cup of coffee, but long enough to cover the essentials. As I lecture, hindi naman ako magrereklamo if you look to your watches. You look at your watches, siguro it is better to look at your calendar when listening to Jose David Lapus. But I mind if you're just listening to your cellular telephones, to your mobile. So, I would wish you put all your mobiles on the silent mode, so that we can pay attention to the topic on Rizal. I will go on First, ibibigay ko some teachings ni Rizal. Kasi when you say, teach Rizal as a teacher, yun ang specific topic in-assign sa akin ng Pamantasang. So we will concentrate, we will focus on that. Rizal as a teacher. Like me, like the rest of the teachers here gathered in this auditorium. But you see, si Rizal kasi, hindi naman nagsulat ng educational method or a book on how to be a teacher. Therefore, kukunin natin ang ideas ni Rizal sa maraming sinulat na ni Rizal, voluminous. Pipili ako ng mga certain quotations, and then in another part of my presentation, speech, I will infer from those generalizations what could be the principles of Rizal as a teacher. Kukunin natin sa kanyang voluminous, talagang voluminous writings. Wala ko alam na Filipino hero who has written as much and as voluminously as Jose Rizal. My friend, Dr. Austin Coates of Oxford University said, Jose Rizal is one of the most documented heroes in the world and one of the most documented heroes in Asia, because Rizal kept writing and writing and writing until the hour of his death. He was writing. So, ladies and gentlemen, mga estudyante kayo whom I respect, alalahanin natin yung some quotations, pero I am not here to recite quotations. Magagawa niya. But I am here to infer from those quotations what could be the ideals, the principles, the canons of Rizal as a teacher, as a guru, as a maestro. Simulan natin sa sinulat niya, sa letter niya kay Rizal Blumentritt, page 188. No? That's a voluminous volume. The correspondence between Rizal and Blumentritt. Nagsimula yan, natapos yan after 9 years. Natapos yan with the death of Rizal. So actually from 1886 to 1896, Dr. Ferdinand Blumentritt, the Austrian, Dr. Jose Rizal, the Asian, exchanged voluminous letters, mostly in German, followed by French, again in German, none in English, French, Spanish, mostly in German and French. Pero naisa Tagalog na ito, sa kabutihang palad na isali na rin sa wikang Ingles. Sa page 188 ng Rizal Blumentritt correspondence, sa library nyo, puntahan nyo ang correspondence between the voluminous siya, at least 2 volumes. Sinulat niya sa 188, we are struggling for our rights, sabi niya kay Ferdinand, for the rights of humanity. And if there is a God, He will have to help us. Spain cannot justify, even in the name of God, that 6 million Filipinos, yun ang population ng panahon ni Rizal, 6 million Filipinos sa buong Pilipinas, be brutalized, exploited, oppressed, denying them their rights. Sa another letter niya, Rizal Blumentritt, someday, sabi ni Rizal, we will become enlightened under Spain, whether Spain likes it or not. Let the enlightenment be given to us, not as a spoil of war. Uli, sa Rizal Blumentritt correspondence, page 264, we believe, sabi ni Rizal, that the cause of our backwardness and ignorance is the lack of the means of education. Let us go to other writings. Sa El Filibusterismo, sa Philly, page 270, the translation by Derbyshire, more or less in that chapter. Sabi ni Rizal sa Filibusterismo, why is there a great interest in education among the Filipinos? He pointed out it is the duty for Filipinos to fulfill the great interest in education. Then dinagdag sa Philly, El Filibusterismo, published 1891 in Ghent, Belgium. Sabi niya, the duty of everyone to seek his own perfection. This, the desirable innate in the Filipino to cultivate the intellect. Ganun ang pagtingin sa atin ni Rizal. We have the innate desire to improve through education. We perfect ourselves. And that is a gift of God. Sa Philly, lalo na yung mga estudyante, hindi yata nabibigyan ng correct education na nag-aaral doon, including my own beloved, cherished na Universidad de Santo Tomas. Alam niyo na yung chapter sa The Class in Physics. More or less, that dramatizes how physics was taught. Inaamin ko yan. And ay bahagi ako ng the great illustrious University of Santo Tomas. Sinulat niya rin, education exalts the mind. Saan niya sinulat niya? Sa mga tula niya, hindi ba? Wise education, etc.